Hi, today we're gonna interview Rudy, founder of United Players. This video is about 10 questions with Rudy. But before we start the interview, Rudy, you're a vegan. Why did you why do you follow that vegan lifestyle?
So I want to be healthy and I want to live. And plus, I love animals. Until I was brought some education and learned about the truth about it, I didn't, like ignorance is bliss. I didn't know. And it was introduced to me by one of my best friends, a homegirl. Ain't gonna say no names. She's the one that brought it to my attention. And, I want to be healthy. I want to be strong. And I know, the things you put in your body can kill you. And so I want to live. And so you see, I'm on an exercising chair now, health as well. And so, when you eat well, you feel good, you start loving yourself more. And so for that, I want to, practice as much as I can to be as healthy as I can be. And then also, I love animals. I hate to see anything or any body get harmed, period. Vegan.
Question number 1. Being a former gang member and ex-felon, how did you get politically active and into community organizing? Since you were incarcerated, are there political movements within jail or within street gangs?
So, first of all, I'd like to say thank you. I'm honored and I'm humbled that you would ask me questions. And I apologize if I sound ignorant to a whole lot of things. I'm only going to answer to what I know to my best ability. And so me, first of all, I wasn't a gang member. I was a gang banger. There's a difference. I was active. I was in the field on the front line putting in work. I anytime I'm involved in something, I want to make sure that I participate fully. So that's one. The other thing is the movement for me, when I first got involved was when I was out of jail. That's what actually got me started. I was sent to a program at San Francisco City College called the EOP program, the Second Chance program. And as an ex-felon, the Second Chance program took in guys who were coming fresh out or in programs, and they would give them opportunity. The guy's name was Bill Chin, right, an Asian brother. He believed in me. Him, Dennis Shabongan, Tony, Giwan, all these guys were Asian brothers who saw me going down that path and said, let's give him an opportunity, because if we know this man who we feel has potential doesn't get educated and these opportunities, he can fuck up and then land back in the jail. And so they gave me that opportunity, and the opportunity was basically going to get other people who were incarcerated, when they get out, and give them the opportunities to get into school, to educate them. And so that right there led me to start on my career for the movement, because I didn't know nothing about the movement prior to that. And I'm already now, in my early 20s. And so, I heard about Martin Luther King. I heard about the Black Panthers. I heard about the Brown Berets, the I Hotel, but I never really took the time to understand what it was all about, because I was just too busy being selfish and running the streets and causing havoc and destroying my community. And so that's what kind of got me started into the movement. Once I started being in it and learning about helping other people out. And that's what kind of inspired me and motivated me about movements. I hope I answered your question.
Oh, yes, you did. And are there political movements within jail?
Absolutely. So inside the prison walls, there's a lot of positive things that goes on. So for example, in San Quentin, they did the walk for life. All the inmates in the yard would walk around in the yard, the lower yard, and they would walk miles and miles. And the more miles they walked, the more money that was generated to give to cancer patients, right? There was food sales in prisons like in Vacaville, Solano, San Quentin, all different prisons, and monies that they would generate from the food sales they would have in there, they would donate it to organizations that was making change on the outside, helping out kids, helping out, for opportunities for college, even in a level 4 prison. These dudes who had LWOPs, meaning life without parole, they was raising money from their own, from their own self and donating the money to kids and organizations so they can go to college. These were a lot of movements that would happen on inside. And then they even have movements on inside, where it's level 4 prisons, right? Where they were going hunger strikes. Well, these guys felt like the conditions they was living in wasn't fair. So all the guys on the inside, whether they was gang members or prison gang members or whatnot, they all banded together from different nationalities to stand up for a movement because they was treated unfairly, to change the conditions for the guys on the inside. And guess what? It worked. They would do, those type of moves where they were going hunger strikes. And so there's a lot of things behind the walls that there's a lot of good men behind there that they do. That's just the tip of the iceberg.
Question number 2. Can you tell us about United Players?
Absolutely. So United Players originated in 1984, October the 8th, 1994, that originated from a big fight at a high school called Balboa High School in San Francisco. There was different guys from different neighborhoods and different gangs, particularly Black and brown, that had a big riot in the streets in front of Balboa High School. All these dudes who were part of the fight, we organized a sit down with them to stop the violence, because after the big riot, people who were Black or people who were Filipino were getting jumped. That had nothing to do with the original beef. They was just getting jumped because they was Black or Filipino. And so I was able to, with some administration, because at Balboa back in 94, the principal was Filipino too, right? And some of the staff was able to get all these dudes who was in original fight to sit at the table, to come up with the solutions to stop the violence that was happening at the school campus. Because a lot of people who was going to school wasn't getting no education. And so they all sat down and they started bringing up all the solutions. And it started with that, just voicing their opinions, what they thought would work. And it was working. And so they asked, man, this is actually effective, making an impact. We should make this a club, Rudy. I said, okay. So I asked the people again, what do you guys want to name the club? So in 1994, I don't know if you remember, here in the Bay Area of San Francisco, there was a lot of rap groups called Get Low Players, Forte and the Players Club. And so they used that word players. United was the first word, then they put players up there. And once we put that on the wall, October the 8th, 1994, it's still authentic to this day, 27 years later, where it started in the school from kids to now, 27 years later, where it's worldwide. And it has the same name and the same mission, but it started with the people. That's how United Players was born.
Question number 3. Can you tell us about some of the programs United Players have and that you are involved in?
Absolutely. So United Players, we're an after-school program. With the pandemic going on right now, we have collaborated with another community-based organization called West Bay, which is the oldest Filipino organization in the west side of Mississippi, 52 years. We collaborated because we're all in the same neighborhood, and we're doing the pods for the kids. We got the most kids in San Francisco in pods. I believe we got a blueprint to run schools during the pandemic effectively. And so we have those programs where we're teaching kids, about literacy. Reading is valuable. We're teaching them education ways are not traditional in the school and set, about self-improvement, about how to be entrepreneurs, how to identify and learn who you are in ways where kids can learn as young as elementary to our kids who are all the way in high school. So we have the normal sports events, but we want to make sure that we get to their mind and their hearts so they could be self-conscious and know who they are. That's just some of the stuff we do.
Question number 4. How can you tell us about the positive impact or changes that United Players have made in the community and with the youth?
Oh man, to me, that's one of the greatest outlets. Since we've been doing this for 27 years. I got 20 staff right now. Some of the staff that I currently have are the former participants who were youth in our program, but they grew up, they've been successful in life, and, they come back and they work for us to get back to the community. And so, those are some of the impacts that I believe are successful. I believe, out of 10 kids, we probably 7 out of 3 were able to change their lives. So, they're being what they're destined to do on this planet. So, those are some of the things that I think that, make our program effective. We're not just one nationality program. We deal with everybody. We're like the Rainbow Coalition. You know what I mean? And I think what's effective too is that we deal with young kids at an early age, so we could talk to them and educate them about the pitfalls and landmines that are out there on the streets.
Question number 5. How do you diffuse violence between at-risk youth or with street gangs?
Oh man, I just, one, how do you diffuse it? One, I think, our prevention piece is very important, is to educate them and teach them about the consequences of joining and being involved in that lifestyle. In San Francisco, there ain't like gangs. They're more about neighborhoods and sets. But I mean, they got gangs out there, but not like other places. But, just educating them and telling the truth about, getting involved in it. There's no future, there's no honor in it. And it's pretty much a dead end road. And so, we want to tell you from experience. Like I said, I got 20 staff and 70% of us are ex-felons. Some who did life sentences in prison, who came home after doing 45 years straight, 31 years, 41 years, 25 years. And some of them even went to prison as young as 16 years old that went for double homicide, that were labeled as from the president as super predators. But look at, they have made transition in their life and are out now, giving back to the community and making sure kids do not get caught in the same webs or the same pitfalls that have they done when they was young. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, those are some of the things I think that work.
Question number 6. Last month, you spoke at the Rise Up with Asia March and Rally in SF. You brought a few folks on stage who did 20 to 45 years in jail. You explained, we are saving lives, not taking lives, because we are in every hood now. Can you explain a little about this and the quote, "It takes the hood to save the hood"?
Sure. So, what I meant by that is most of the dudes that I brought on stage with me all lived that life for real. They took lives. They were murderers. Was living that life of a gangbanger and ended up taking other people's lives, and spent the time to do it. Like I said, and you said it too. One dude did 45 years straight. He was locked up in 1970, got out in 2015. We had dudes in there who were straight mortal enemies, but on the same stage now, working together, uniting with the same cause to bring life now. Because we was young, we was ignorant, we wasn't wise enough to understand it. But now these dudes know it's about living. It's about saving lives, bringing life, not living in the dark, and understanding why they did what they did and becoming a better man. And so they live their life in honor of the people that was took it and the lives that they took. And so, that's what it basically out. It takes the hood to save the hood. It takes the people to save the people. That's all that means. During crisis and pandemics, people need to make sure we look out for each other. You know, don't be selfish and just look after yourself. Make sure we look after the elders, the children, the women, and everybody in between.
Question number 7. How can we bring the Asian community and the Black community together when there seems to be a big cultural and generation difference, especially from older Asians?
I think that's what we're doing now, you know, working with them while they're young and educating them that, well, a lot of us are coming from the same struggle and that we're not no different than a lot of than each other. You know, and I think this is what school doesn't teach people, you know, that a lot of us who are people of color, we all come from the same struggle. We came from the same, you know, type of situations where we're just trying to survive and we're not each other's enemies. And so to me, I think it's starting them off young, educating them, and then what's going out now, the ones who are committing the crimes, that they be held accountable. And when they're in jail, be sure we restore them with all the right necessary information they need to know that we're not each other's enemies. And then at the same time too, right, provide mental health mental health services for people, right? Provide a lot of real necessary services that people need so they understand not only who they are, right, to get better, but also to look at your brother as human. Be careful, baby girl. And to look at your brothers and sisters as our own people. You understand what I'm saying? And if you look at a lot of the movements that happened all over the world, it was Black and brown unity, which actually made the movement successful. All the way from the ethnic studies at San Francisco State University to the I Hotel, you know, to a lot of the movements that happened to change the way this world is for the betterment of our people was always done with people of color and white people that came together, united. It's my little homegirl right there.
Hello. Question number 8. Is it possible to stop Asian hate crimes without using violence?
I believe it is. You know, I think, like I said, education is key, man. You know what I mean? Education is important. We got to install it in, you know, in human life while they're young because they get it. You know, you watch the media, see the media, the prison system and the school system are part of the whole same social system. They're not meant for us to empower ourselves. It's meant for us to empower a country that don't give a fuck about us. And so we teach the kids and educate them the real truth about how special they are and how important they are and how valuable and how they contribute to this country. They'll be more empowered. And then we got to give the great opportunities that we have in our country for everybody to get equality, to get equity. Because if you have people who got shit and you got people who ain't got it, guess what? Those people are going to take it. And so we got to, around the board, make sure that everybody is eating and everybody got proper housing, proper education, and proper health care. So everybody can be, you know, happy, at least content. And the ones in the middle that fall through the crack, we make sure we hold them accountable. I hope that makes sense.
Yes. Question number 9. What is your opinion about the purchasing of firearms going sky high in the Asian community?
I appreciate that question. One, I'm not against the Second Amendment, but I am against senseless gun violence. And so, you know, a lot of people, you know, they got the right to purchase their guns to make sure they feel safe and to protect their families and themselves. But just make sure if you're going to use and purchase guns that it's rightfully being used what it's supposed to be meant for. Not, you know, domestic violence is at a high. People killing their partners, they get mad, they don't know how to deal with it. You got suicide, people got guns in the house. 3, you know, you got guns in the house that are loaded and unlocked with kids in the house. The Plymouth of rising since the pandemic. Kids are using guns they find in the house, not only harm and kill themselves, but other people. And so be responsible if you feel like you need to purchase a gun. Make sure that you have all the adequate, you know, essential things you need, gun locks, lock boxes or whatever to make sure you keep your family safe. And if somebody come bust in your house and they trying to harm you and your family, then by all means, you pull your gun out and do what you got to do to protect your family. Period.
Question number 10. How can we get involved or support United Players?
Thank you for asking that question. I ain't hard to find, right? You can look us up on our website, United Players, spelled PLAYAZ.org, or you can just call me, 415-716-4100. We're a nonprofit organization. Anything you contribute, whether it be money, right? It's tax written off. If you want to provide your time and have some wisdom that you want to share, or just, you know, come down, man, and show some love. Come get with me. Or I got an Instagram too, BIGRUT415. Big Root 415, baby. My name Rudy, but my nickname is Root. Big Root. BIGRUT 415. Yee!
Thank you, Rudy, and much respect to you.
Hey, man, thank you for having me on here. I'm honored and I'm humbled. And hopefully, man, that people see this and say, you know, to themselves, I want to change something because I don't want to wait till somebody gets killed or somebody I know I love get hurt to say, damn, I should have did something or I should get involved. Get involved now, y'all. It's all of us or none of us. See that? All of us or none of us, y'all.